Okay, well, good morning, everyone. First item on our agenda is county personnel or public comment. Is there any? Seeing none, we will move on, but if you want, we will make time for you if you come down here. Pretty light agenda. Really, the first and only item is this RFN construction request. And if I read that, we needed a surety bond to start the work. The company does, but it wasn't listed in the spec sheet. So do you have, I mean, is this the information we got?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. So does everyone understand what that meant? It doesn't change the bid, it seems like. Shouldn't. So is that just informational or do we need to?
I think you'll need to make a motion
Hey.
on that. So since it doesn't change the bid amount, it won't require rebidding. So I think it just requires a motion to designate them in that capacity. And I think the purpose of that is so that they can then have the authority to request a surety bond.
Well, does anyone want to make that motion?
So this wasn't in we didn't notify them that they needed the surety bond. So if there's a cost to them to do this.
If you make a motion, that they will not increase. They don't want to back it.
You don't.
So, is, B&B's gonna be the main contractors in, or is it still gonna be he's gonna do most of the work, I guess is the question.
I guess the way I understand it is. I'm not sure, but they are a subcontractor. Actually. They will be in the process. Will be
RFN?
So B&B is kind of overseeing,
yeah.
RFN.
So,
Yeah, I've got. I mean.
okay, so you want to make a motion to proceed here?
I think we're going to proceed. Yes.
With, so our attorney's on Zoom here. Kevin, I'm really not, I mean, what specifically does this motion need to say?
Just a motion to designate whatever the name of that company is, as I think it was general contractor. Let me pull up the exact language here just a second.
Okay.
B&B Brothers.
B&B Brothers. Okay, so you make that motion?
I would make that motion. Yeah.
Okay. Is there a second?
Just make sure Kevin.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Is he
Look at something. Make sure.
He's
Yeah.
looking. All right, sorry.
Yeah, just a motion to designate them as a general contractor for purposes of them proceeding with obtaining a surety bond. And they said just a motion to that effect should be sufficient.
Motion for B&B Brothers to be the general contractor for the purpose of the surety bond.
Okay, is there a second?
If I didn't vote on the first thing, I won't second this one.
Oh, okay, I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. Okay, well, that's done. So really, we have some. Oh, you know. So I am so agenda driven here. I didn't even think about that. Thank you very much. The minutes from Friday's meeting, did everyone have a chance to read over the minutes, and are there any additions or corrections?
I had a few questions. I mean, nothing major. But, on a road and bridge part, it says, conclude District 1. It would say conclude in District 1 or conclude with District 1 or on the Orland part. That makes it more clear.
Oh, concluded. Yeah, okay. Fine. Anything else?
I guess that's just the name of the company, right? I mean, that's what I did wonder if it should be Hams with apostrophe or not. I don't, it's not a big deal. I think you're fine. And then. So,
Okay.
and then, on a motor overhaul, since you mentioned the other day, it was a cat motor. Are we over and hauling the 2003 Peterbilt motor or a cat motor? Or does it probably doesn't make any difference, but.
I would say that's just under or implied. It's the motor in the 2003 Peterbilt.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, I can go along with that.
You are a details guy.
Well,
I like that about you.
I don't know, I just want to make sure it was clear,
Sure.
because if a cat motor might be more expensive, did Peterbilt even make a motor?
They don't. They don't. I mean, they make a Packard motor is what they.
I don't care.
Would you be okay if we just left it the way it
I'll
was?
be fine.
Okay.
If you're agreeable to it, I'm fine.
I'm very agreeable. What about you, Mr. Lincool?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Correction, yeah.
Just the one. Yep. Just the one. Okay, so does anyone want to make a motion to approve the minutes as corrected?
But
Is there a second?
Second.
So moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Right. Excellent. Now, with basically a grammatical change, do we need a new one of these? This is previous anyway. Okay, I'm sorry. You know, we've done this enough. I ought to know that by now. But, thanks for working with me. Okay, so that's done. And we have an 8:30, but I went on my drive in here this morning. I saw the county chip and seal crew on the landfill road. So.
But there was still at the beginning of it, so. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, you saw them too. All right, so is there anything else that we got a little time here? We want to discuss?
What number of time we got?
Oh, we got about 10 minutes, 11 minutes.
I guess I'd like an executive session to discuss non-elected personnel. Or probably 5 minutes being,
Okay, who do you want in here?
Nikki and the commissioners.
The attorney on Zoom?
If he wants to be, I don't care. He doesn't need to be, but he can be.
Yes or no?
Include him.
Okay. All right, so it's been motion to go in executive session for non-elected personnel to protect.
Can I just interject on that? I think the preference on when it's non-elected is just to mention whether it's, if it's related to discipline or hiring or pay or what have you. I think to be a little more specific, I think is the recommendation on those motions.
Okay, so it's non-elected personnel, pay, salary.
Yes, that would be fine.
Okay,
Okay.
with the 3 commissioners, county clerk and the county attorney present for 5 minutes. Work?
Okay.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, so moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, 5 minutes. Okay, we are out of executive session with no binding action taken, back into regular session. And we're still a little ahead of schedule here. Do you gentlemen feel like we made a decision there, or will we need more time at the end of the meeting? Okay, so we'll come back to it. Okay, at the end of the meeting then, all right. Hey, well, welcome. How are you? Just fine, just fine. All right, is there anything else we need to talk about? We got a few minutes. Okay. This is the Stanfield roof project. All right, well, I can, I can say I talked to a gentleman in K Camp, excuse me, about our property insurance. And he was maybe send you an email about to come in and visit with the commissioners about what we're doing. Okay, well, I talked to him on Friday, so he probably just hasn't reached out. But, and what jogged my interest was the historical building and the $22,000 insurance premium. And so I went through the list, and on property, they're actually fairly affordable. And on rolling stock, they're really affordable on our insurance rates. So but he acted like he'd come in and visit with us and just explain it more in detail. So that's it. All right, Lorna, how are you? Are you here? You're gonna do the bid opening?
Yes.
Okay, right on. It's 8:29, but we'll just round up. How's it? Give you time to get settled, and at 8:30 exactly, you can
Okay,
open the
perfect.
bids. That's what I meant.
That's what you. I only received 2 bids,
Oh,
which I tried to call Jerry to make sure that was correct.
but he didn't answer. They're busy, so.
I know they
Yeah,
are.
you get that.
He said, he answered, he said, can I call you right back? But right back hasn't been yet, so.
Okay.
These are the 2.
All right, it's 8:30. Go for it.
I just. That's what I needed. Thank you. He said he had reached out to some others too, but he said maybe they couldn't get it in out of it. Cause I had emailed some of them too.
Get the advertising.
Yes. I have a copy of the ad that was in the paper.
So,
That's what was in the newspaper.
Sure. Just look right there. This one out?
and with other commissioners.
Big, several of them are put back there.
The snowplow, is that what you're talking about?
This bid specifically lists snowplow prep and pitch. That's fine. Don't see it in the leads. That's fine. So.
Those pictures are. So this one?
Kenworth, yep,
MHC, yes.
yep, this is a Mac.
That with that.
All right,
And MHC, he emailed me after. Well, I believe it was Friday, and he said that he had heard some talk that we wanted to do it through the Kansas dealer. So he can run it through the Toledo store.
okay,
He wanted me to be sure to let him know.
okay. This truck, 2026 model, delivery the first quarter of next year. This truck's a 25 and it's in stock, so. Guess we need to find out on.
You want me to ask Jerry about the,
You could, I mean, I don't. You gentlemen see us making a decision today, where we're gonna sit here and talk about, we need to think about it a little bit.
That's what we all. What you wanna do.
Yeah, the bids, are they good for a certain time period, do you know?
I believe it's 30 days.
3 days. Yeah. So this commission's pretty well known for thinking, so we'll probably think is what I anticipate.
Was there anything they're talking about a snowplow package or a snowplow or bar that can fit on?
Jerry spoke to them, so I can't answer that.
Okay, we'll get more information. Well, we better find out on the snowplow.
So this one, the other price for the bid, is that the total price include the bid?
I didn't look at the bid, so I.
It
can't
does,
tell
it
you.
does. It comes with the bid, and it doesn't have extended warranties, but they are available.
Guys with the bid process or two, if I can, I didn't. No. I can't read what's on your shirt, so sorry. Or.
They're both automatics. Are all our trucks automatics or most? of them?
Not all of the newer ones.
They're all
are, but the older ones aren't.
Okay, okay. Well, I guess we can go ahead and announce the bids. Tell me what you opened and then so we can get that in the record, but. What do you want me to do? Okay, open the bid from MHC Kenworth. This is for a 2025 T880 with a bid to the specs. That were requested, the 16-foot bed with a high lift tailgate. And this is all in $198,000 even. The other bid we received was from Nextran Truck
Next
Center,
screen.
Nextran.
Yeah.
Okay, and this for a 2026 Mack. With, this has a 15-foot bed, it says, with a high lift tailgate, snowplow prep. And a pencil hitch for $231,000 even. That is a anticipated delivery of the first quarter of next year. Between January, March of 2026.
And that was with the specs were 14 to 16.
14 to 16. Okay, so that one
So
falls
it
in.
was.
Okay,
yeah,
perfect,
Didn't have to be.
perfect. Okay,
exactly
thanks for
one thing
explaining
or
that.
another.
So. Is there any questions or comments?
They are, because you're gonna find out that one included a snow plow hitch and attachment stuff on it, most of them have been nothing on it, so that's a considerably higher.
That's a lot of money.
Expense to add, so we need to find out.
So we have questions and I think we'll table it till
Okay.
next time. Make a decision, make a more informed decision next time.
I can email MHC
Okay, wonderful,
and ask about that.
wonderful, wonderful. All right, well, thank you very much.
You will.
All right, thanks a lot.
Welcome.
Anything else while you're here? While you,
They started chip seal today, so
okay, it's a big day,
it sounded like anyway, Jared was out.
so it should
Your
work.
machinery behind him, so.
They were on the landfill road, should work great. They'll get a day here to run and then it's supposed to rain, so they can
Right.
fix everything that they didn't know was broken, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
And usually there is. some-
Yeah, yeah, it always works like that, so
Yeah.
that's wonderful. Okay, all right, we still have a little bit of time here before our kneecap scheduled at 8:45. Is that while you're here? Right on. Do you want to come up early? A little early? We can do it if you're ready. We're ready. So I'm with Mr. Limpool here. I couldn't read your shirt. It says, does it say Tigers?
Yeah, for his sake.
Okay,
So-
all right, you can come on
He
up.
wants to the-
It would be wonderful if you come up here. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Fort Hays State, right on.
Hi, I'm Christy Maury of Jason Gibson. And we are with NECAP. And NECAP this year is requesting some additional, well, they're potentially looking for some potential resources to assist with the housing choice voucher program. So currently, right now, the Community Services Block Grant, CSBG, has been assisting with any shortfall or anything like that, that the housing program has needed assistance in the past, and this year potential cuts at the federal level. That was just a potential looking to see if there's any possible way to get the budget. But, right,
Yes, because potentially the CSBG grant could go completely away.
Mhm.
So, since this grant serves people in, Brown County. And, that is, tied with a lot of other counties also.
so in the-
We're just going in when you're, studying your, budgets and stuff and asking that you put it in there if we should lose the funding to keep the program running.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
This program has been in existence since 1989, when Brown County started the proposals to do cooperative agreements with the 7 other counties. And so we have been, and NECA has been administering it since then, and we haven't requested any funding at all since then. So the CSBG program usually keeps it alive, and we're hoping that it'll still be there, but with potential funding cuts, it's something that we just want to make sure that we're not losing the funding and potentially losing housing assistance for the elderly and disabled households in the Brown County area. Any questions that you have?
Well, how much does the grant supply?
So you go to fiscal back.
So in the administrative money and stuff, which is basically what we're asking for. Total, I think, let's see. It's gonna be two grants together, it's actually kind of around $200,000.
And that's just for housing.
this is just for this housing grant, so like we have multiple housing grants, but. This program anyway. That's for this program and the housing assistance for the county. This last year was right around $165,000. But the 200,000 that's for the administrative is covering the whole service area of the.
Active Brown, Compton, Jackson, Jefferson, Yukon, Marshall.
Yes.
So is there, I'm asking a lot of questions.
Bring it,
Every
yeah.
time I send somebody there, come back and say there's no funds. I mean, it happens the minute the year starts. And so who's grabbing all the funds that Brown County is firstly not seeing very many?
So when you're talking about different funds, you are talking about usually those are gonna be like your short-term rental systems and things like that, and this program isn't a short-term fund. It's
This
gonna-
Section 8.
This is Section 8, it's the one that's gonna
Yep,
help
I
you
know.
get on. So right now we have about 3 to 6 month wait. So right now I'm processing everybody that has came in between December and February. And then next month in June, we're getting ready to go, anyone that's applied anywhere from March to April. So I mean, right now, for housing authorities, I would say that we are the shortest housing authority waiting list. Kansas City, they're closed. They'll open one day and only take so many applications. So I feel like I do a good job of trying to capture everybody that comes in as much as possible and give them opportunities, but.
There's very little Section 8 housing in our county that's available for anybody to go in.
So that is one of our concerns as well, it's just the housing stock, and that's one of the things that we're trying to work with. Developers and local landlords, because this is definitely, we don't provide the housing, we work with local landlords, so. Any funding that we put into the counties is going to. Private landlords, it's not going to, government entities that go back to. Those situations, so this is our local landlords, that we work with and. And so those fundings do go, and so like we said, 165,000, is how much is going into the county of Brown. Just to our local landlords.
So tell me what Section 8 housing is.
Just your thing, Section 8 housing, basically, we pay. A percentage of the rent, and we pay that directly to the landlord on behalf of the tenant who is low income, and so that could be elderly, disabled, or low income families. So it's just a portion of the rent, and then the tenant is responsible for paying the other portion. And then we work with. Local building codes and things like that to make sure that the units are up to code for that area.
What is our guideline for Section 8?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
let's just say, I mean, I deal with a lot of ministry here. I deal with a lot of,
Yeah, yeah.
because they go there, you guys are sent over, a lot, somebody sends your place to our church a lot.
That would
So,
definitely be what we call the emergency room.
yeah, so I deal with this a lot, so. But more of that, how do we get the emergency? Emergency seems like a bigger issue in our county than.
Is it?
Yes.
So the emergency rental assistance, and I've been doing this for 20 years now. So the emergency rental assistance is funded through the CSBG program that we're talking about, that's going to be the cuts. They work with Salvation Army, United Way. And then, back when I first started, when we actually had an office here in the courthouse, they would work with local donations. And so the local donations are who basically supply the short-term rental assistance, the utility assistance. I remember we have with gas vouchers. There's those types of things that we were talking about. And so I think back in 2010 is when we released that to the Ministerial Alliance, and now they're just still working with Salvation Army and United Way, and when those funds come in. But I believe, if I'm correct, those are still donations that come into Salvation Army and United Way. We apply for the
So,
grants.
so like we applied for the United Way grants, the Salvation Army money, we do not administer that at all. So that's just working straight with the Salvation Army. But the United Way, we can apply for that when there's a United Way that's covering an area. So like like we have that grant for Jackson, or have applied for funds and received the funds for Jackson County for down in Atchison County, and then some counties over, it's like Marshall, Potawatomi, and I think I'm forgetting one that's over in that area, like Washington maybe. And the different counties are used in different ways, because I think like Marshall and Pot in Washington, part of that gets used for the emergency services, and then part of that gets used for summer meals programs for kids, I believe. But the Atchison County and the Jackson County, they set up for like rent utilities.
And it's capped out like $200 or $150.
Yeah, because like we only get around like 5,000 a year. That's typically, or sometimes not even that much, so.
I know we've got guidelines that have been myself. Plans to.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. You know, like watch we do because people are asked because they're not.
Absolutely, yeah. Gotta be investigative.
That's right. We got a rotation once a year. For help too.
I think the emergency services, they have some limitations on that. For like United Way and donation lines.
It goes so fast. I mean, 5,000, it's not very much at all. Any other questions you have?
Your request is for help with the section.
That is more of, should we lose money from the CSG grant, so it's not fairly.
It's a request to put it in the budget as a possibility is what we're actually for.
What's the acronym for this? You had CFCG, CSBG, Community Services Block Grant. Okay. So I don't know enough about this to ask some questions. So forgive me if these questions are, unusual. So is this money, this grant money, do you need matching funds, or do you need like local investment to qualify for additional dollars? Is that what this is? No.
Not at all, but it's.
Okay. So there's no, like, if you tell me, we need $5,000 from you because that opens the door for $200,000 from that. Okay, that's okay. That's one, then that's easy.
So just to go kind of along those lines though, should we use the or should we lose the CSB grant? We're looking at how to pay for the money that would be lost. So like, we don't want to lose the whole Section 8 housing choice voucher grant, because we can't pay for the portion that we're asking. So it kind of is leverage, but it's not kind of officially leverage.
Have you looked internally for cost cutting measures and kneecap?
Yeah.
I mean, because
So
we
like
are.
this program just employs 2 people. Then we have cut the costs on everything we can think of pretty much to this point, besides trying to move those 2 out to another location to cut the location costs. And that's kind of where we're at. So like, we tried to run the program as efficiently as we can, so we're not just spending money because we can, because it's there.
So in the past, have you come to this commission requesting funds?
We have not, because we haven't felt that, there was any kind of significant risk of losing the CSDG grant.
So if CSBG stays and doesn't go away, then this money won't be spent. Is that right? You won't need it,
Yeah, we should.
but you don't know until, I mean, when's the hard day that you'll know that you have it or not, or does it
It was
exist?
the federal budget passive. And so when we see the federal budget, if it has a line item that allows for CSBG to stay. And so we're waiting on the federal government.
Okay, well, and we are,
And I think that's the thing, is the federal government changes with things like that, states and local levels are gonna have to take on additional burden and things like that is basically, and to just trying to think long-term is, what services are gonna be needed, which services, we can do away with in our local areas, so.
we are fighting the same battle. Yeah, we're in a predicament because I feel like our commission is kind of a limited resource organization now too. So we have to be extremely judicious with it, how we expand. So this, you're giving us a heads up that you may come at us wanting this. So you're hoping we can find some room somewhere, potentially.
Because we know that if we lose it. And then we come to you later on and you don't have it in the budget, then you know it's just not there. So.
So this is back to Mr. Pollock's question. So I don't know anything about Section 8 housing. You said it's for elderly, low income, what else?
It's 2/3 of who we help is elderly and disabled.
Disabled, that's fine.
And then a third is usually, when I look back at my numbers, it's usually single parent households. And then just a few individuals that are trying to get started in life is basically what I consider it. And so what we do is the other person that he's talking about in my office, her whole job is to help people with employment skills, getting a job. And so it's just trying to get them up and going so that we can move them off the program. So we always usually try to help with the elderly and disabled that are receiving SSI, Social Security and things like that, but there is a population and it's a very small population on the program that they'll either maybe have a job and then they'll lose it. And so then we're like trying to help them get back up. And so in that meantime, we're helping pay rental assistance until they can get another job, and then we recalculate it based off of their income. And so we pay a portion based off of whatever that income is in that household to the landlord. But with rising cost of the landlords, the landlords have increased because of insurance and property taxes, is what they're telling me. And so, and I see it, we have to provide documentation of it. So when those increases occur, what happens is this program is funded by how many people are on the program. So as less and less people are starting to be on because we're paying more per household, then we're helping our income is coming in less and less as well. So this program used to be able to be self-supported just because we used to help with 160, 170, and right now our numbers are about 140 total.
Cause like we get paid off the number of vouchers that are out there. So we're serving less people and there's less administrative money.
And the only way to increase it is quite slowly every year, just trying to increase that just a little bit. So that HUD allows you to have a little bit of program increases on the housing assistance side. And so as we slowly increase those, it's how your income is.
You get more federal dollar. That's what you're saying.
And we haven't lost any funding. I mean, it's not like back in 2005 when they cut all of our half funding to a drastic level. So the rental assistance is still there. It's just being able to pay for someone to do the program.
So as our costs go up, property taxes have to go up. So like
Exactly.
gaining anything,
Yeah.
I mean, that's why the property
Yeah.
taxes are up, because
So the only thing I was trying to tell landlords is just, keep increasing your property value. So, I mean, make it look nice. I want nice programs on, I want nice properties on the program. So it's not an eyesore to the community.
And then you say there's 42 families in Brown County. You're asking for, and there's $165,000 goes to Brown County. That's like about $4,000 per family. Probably.
Well, so like this money's not gonna go towards the rental assistance, it's gonna go towards the administration. So that's gonna be like,
We pay an average of $12,794 per month. In Bryan County.
Over those 42 families, the $300. So when you have a rental assistance program, and how does that affect rental rates? If a landlord knows that someone will fill a gap, I would think that'd be supportive of just raising rental.
One of my jobs, that I feel like I've done a pretty good job of, is keeping the rents low in our areas. And by doing that, so for example, there's fair market rents that HUD publishes every year. And so that's our maximum subsidy that we can assist with. So when a landlord comes to me and says that they want $1,200 for a 3-bedroom, for example. That may be affordable in some counties, like Atchison County, for example, $1,200 for a 3-bedroom is very reasonable for that area. However, I have to come in and say, we can't go that high. Our maximum subsidy is this, and so you'll have to lower your rent or we can't work with you. And so usually what they'll do is they'll lower that rent and help us out with providing housing for that person. In Brown County, usually you see about $800 is the 3-bedroom prices. We're seeing about $600 about 2-bedroom prices, and usually about $500 for 1-bedroom.
So you think, or you're saying, I guess, if I hear you correctly, that the landlords, you can use your program as a negotiating tool to lower it down. Maybe they're satisfied with consistent rent instead of.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
High.
That's what they tell me.
Okay,
They
well,
tell me that they enjoy the guaranteed rent, that it comes into their bank account by the 5th of each month, direct deposit funds into the accounts. And then the other nice thing is when they have problems with tenants, they can call me and they can say, hey, I'm having a small problem with this situation. And so then I can contact the tenant and kind of be a peace mediator between them. Not that it's necessarily my job, but that's just my personality.
we don't mean to grill you. We're
No.
just looking
Yeah.
for more information, because I don't understand this stuff. I gotta be honest, programs like this always red flags. So Section 8 housing, I don't know much about it, but I did hear about it in the news. And I don't associate it with anything that I'm really probably fundamentally, for. I understand it's people need housing. I mean, is there anything else for them while they're here?
You have any general qualifications from Section 8, you get this,
Absolutely.
you can email. I mean, you guys don't deal with this, I deal with this daily.
There you go. You can be our expert.
Almost every day I get a call from somebody needing assistance of some sort. At least 3 or 4 times a week. It's very limited. Once you help them once, then the Charlotte can't do it, but.
Well, and for example, if you're helping with rent utilities and things like that, there's a problem.
Yeah.
We need to figure out what the problem is. And so, when I have them on the phone and they're asking for, hey, I need help with this month's rent. My job or what I do is to say, okay, listen, so it sounds like we're having a problem right now. It's probably not gonna go away anytime in the near future. So let's go ahead and get you applied so you can be processing on the waiting list. And then, like I said, my turnaround time right now is about 3 to 6 months. And so within 6 months, I can get them on the program and start getting them. And in the meantime, I'm telling them, what they need to be working on to be able to help us.
In most cases, it's what we're dealing with that day because we can't. It's the problem is just an immediate fix to get the buy.
Yes.
Sometimes just a day, it's not even a month.
And I don't necessarily like immediate fixes, they're sure helpful, but they're not a solution to the problem. So the Section 8 program does allow for us to help with people as long as they're income eligible and as long as they don't have any felonies or anything like that warrants them to have any issues. And as long as the unit is in compliance, then we can help them every year until they either income out or violate the program.
And so something just to mention is part of the goal of NECAP is to get people to live themselves completely out of poverty, so we're not there to just give people stuff for free, like we're trying to get them out of their situation, so that's just something to mention.
And that's admirable. What I hear and fear is people are economically very savvy. Figure these programs out. And if I realize if I make a certain dollar figure that I'm not qualified for any assistance, well, how much is, you do the math and then, well, there's no incentive to make more money because then I'll lose this. And people find themselves in the spot where actually they're rewarded for not doing. And we're just talking here. And again, I'm not grilling you. We don't get to speak to people in your situation very often.
Yeah. And I will say that I do see that. Just the same, we see that, anyone who works with that, anyone who's looking for money, I mean, that's
Sure.
what they're gonna see. However,
All right.
I will
However.
say, yes, however.
Bring it.
I will say that, like I said, I've been doing this program for 20 years now. And the people that I, heartbreak for are the elderly that when I see their expenses for medical expenses and how much they're having to pay out, that's I can't believe that our society's not doing more to help those situations. And so that's one area that I can help with. And so everyone makes fun of me because I'm always the population of we've got to help the elderly. But there's also, I would say 50 through 65, there's a population right there right now that they're not receiving Social Security, they're not receiving SSI. But their health issues, it's not necessarily making them disabled, but it's definitely causing them to have massive hardships and things like that. And so those are the people that they're having a hard time finding jobs because we're either needing to go back and re-educate them in some way, shape, and form, and then finding the funding for that. Or trying to figure out how they can fit into the jobs that are currently there, but they don't need extra skills for. And then you're fighting ageism. Nobody really wants to bring in somebody who's 55. I mean, that's for everyone here, that's our age, but for some of the young, he's looking around like, I don't know.
I think she complimented you. And
Six over there. Anyway, but I think that's my thing is that this funding does assist with that population. So the population you're talking about, that's the one that always gets kind of perceived that that's who we're helping, but it's actually very small. And those are the ones that we're constantly like, hey, what are you doing? Let's get you going. So.
You work a lot with camp with Canada too. We do got the new program that we're starting there. It's trying to do what you've been doing.
Okay.
But the housing and they're trying to get more funds there.
Yeah.
Internally to help people. In needing somebody took advantage and drain them. Got them most of the money because or they realize what's going on to help people because. You can't continue with emergency money, it can't be the same emergency person every month. But that's why most people, when they come to the church to ask, I ask so many questions.
Well,
I dig deep, there's usually an underlying.
that's right. And that's where at the county level, the different agencies we've got to be working together to be able to see the fraud. Yeah, to see, he was at your, well, he's got assistance with me too. So that piece of just trying to communicate would be, definitely something we need to look at too. Yep. You're still thinking over there.
So how are your, so you do Head Start programs too, right?
We
Is
have
that,
this for sure.
is that all probably not connected with this program?
It's not, no.
I see a lot of new vehicles sitting in the Head
Yeah.
Start place.
So Head Start does have a lot of funding and they use it on their side, but it's not allowed to be able to be used in other programs. We also have the weatherization department, same thing for them. They've been able to acquire a couple vehicles with those funding, but not,
So that's different.
each pot of money is its own separate. And even like the funding that Rich is talking about, that is the emergency systems, it's completely different funding from this.
Well, I think you asked for some more information. Could you
And I will
send us
send it.
some more information?
Yeah.
on
I'll leave
what
it
you
to the
need?
clerk on that as well.
Just even blanket, like Head Start, you said weatherization, because I thought with the weatherization program, you probably give this, but it's not.
It's not completely separate funding as well.
Okay, so you said something about houses having to be up to code. If they're not up to code,
The landlord
the
does.
landlord of the decap doesn't do it, because I've seen your crew.
Yes,
Okay,
we have reached out to our landlords and informed them about weatherization programs that could assist them.
all right,
But in the years past, since the weatherization program is just brand new,
okay.
this past year, they've been getting the training. So now they are.
Well, you're both very good under pressure. We didn't mean to hit you with
No,
so
you're
many
fine.
questions, but we would take some more information and I guess. Do we say we will consider this because we're still in the budget process? I mean, we just barely got started and it's, I appreciate you explaining it. It's really coming in.
Yeah, if you have other questions, just let us know. We're happy to answer it.
Well, and tell me again, where, are you based out of Brown County? Or
We are.
Yeah,
you
it's right
both
out
are?
there at 6220th Street.
Okay, okay, so an invitation to you two, if you ever need to come in here and talk to us. Come on, all right? All right, we appreciate it very much. So is there anything else? Do you have anything else for them? No, and I'll remember that 55 thing too.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. I don't know. Anything else?
No,
No? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Heinen, I'm just right at the funeral home, so I think that's all I saw on the agenda. So if there aren't any other legal questions for me, I'll head on in.
I think we're done. Thank you. I kind of forgot you were on Zoom there. I appreciate you coming in today. Any questions for him before you leave? Okay, thanks a lot.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right.
You may not know that already.
That we talked about it.
what was he with?
I was Troy.
He's RF in construction, right?
Yeah, he's with our.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine. He's still here. Okay, all right. Hi there. Hi. You gentlemen have something for us? Come on up.
It's just what we had written up before. For the landfill. I don't know what the problem is on the. On their what? The insurance.
Oh, the problem is with the insurance is like this. Because me and Troy basically are almost semi-retired. And we're not doing big jobs anymore because I used to go all the way around to do big jobs. I dropped my insurance from 2 millions to 1 million. Then for me to be able to get a $200,000 bond, either I can pay $5,000 or $20,000, okay? Which means we don't put it in the bed because we actually are helping B&B Brothers. They are the ones that take care of the paperwork. Because since we are insured and registered in the city, we never thought, because it's not a big job for me. I thought we're gonna be okay, just being registered in the city, but this is what happened. We never thought about the bond or nothing like that. We just,
But I don't know why there's such a difference between being in the bond or us being a bond. We generally call the contract.
That's
They
strictly
still
with
got-
your right, the insurance, so to be a bond, that's nothing but we bond, we don't do the bond, it's just through your insurance company. There was a request in here that we could allow B and B to meet the.
Yeah, correct.
And we already approved
That's
that.
for the second part, so it's fine.
We approved that earlier before you got.
okay, yeah, thank you.
So does that help? Does that solve? the-
Is that gonna resolve the problem? Because if not, it's gonna take longer for me to go back again and just rise the insurance bond that I got. And then I'm gonna have to wait another 3 weeks to get it back, and then I'm gonna have to hold it up, and it's gonna take longer to start the job, what I mean.
Our. Camp, our insurance company and everybody agreed that it was okay with.
Yep.
But, so we passed that earlier before you got in. here,
Okay,
so-
well, thank you very much.
I'm not saying you're.
No, you're fine. I was just gonna show him that. I mean,
Are
that's what. we
you guys
meant.
both
That's what you said.
with,
That's what. we're looking
RFN?
at.
Yes.
okay. You're not with B and B.
Yes.
No, we wanna help them.
We'll just take
Okay.
up.
I didn't know if you worked for B&B or if you-
So we made a motion to designate B and B and others as general contractors for
Oh,
purposes
okay.
of the surety.
So, but,
All right, I'm sorry.
yeah,
Fine with us.
Thank you.
I apologize.
thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, we're moving right along and is there anything? Is there anything else? Do we want to continue that? Executive session we had earlier? Do we want to talk about that again?
Possibly, yeah, I think so. Would like to make a decision on it.
Okay. You wanna make-
I move we go back in executive session. We need 10 minutes this time or is it 5 more minutes or
I think we.
then for 5 minutes for non-elected personnel dealing with salaries
With who present?
with the clerk and commissioners.
With the clerk and the three commissioners. Okay.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. That's the other one.
Yeah, they're up.
I'm not going to say that. All right. We're out of executive session, back into regular session. No action, no binding action taken. How's that? Is there anything else to come in front of Commissioner?
Not anything we have to make decisions about, I don't think.
We're scheduled for a work session here immediately after. We'll take a 5-minute recess before that starts. And if there's nothing else to come before us in regular session, we'll call for adjournment. Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, we're adjourned.